What's up, y'all? It's Uniquely Shadá and welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Pretty in real life, so you don't even need filters. Body of a goddess, baby, you the illest. Diamond in the rough, I found lil' mama in the trenches. She ain't in it for the fame, she don't want random attention. Most steady whole catfishing, it's addicting. You messin' with a cook, girl, you hard to get cookin'. I just want some good dome and some good cooking.
So today I'm gonna be giving you guys 10 Netflix series suggestions that I would recommend. So the first Netflix series that I would recommend would be Money Heist. I rate Money Heist a 10 out of 10. So Money Heist was basically about multiple heists these group of people pulled, and this group was formed by someone they'd all call the Professor. There were 8 of them, so there were 8 thieves, and the tricky part was that none of them were supposed to exchange personal information with each other, but of course that didn't happen. I don't want to say too much about this show because I'm sure not everyone has watched it, but yes, this is definitely a great series. I rate it 10 out of 10 again. Make sure to check that out. The second series that I would recommend is called Dynasty, and I definitely rate Dynasty a 10 out of 10 as well. Dynasty was about a very rich family that had many family drama. It was mainly about this rich man's daughter, and her name was Fallon. The rich man's name was Blake, and it started off with Fallon not liking her father's fiance. Then everything basically escalated in this series from there. They lived in a mansion which they would all call the Carrington Manor. So yes, this series was basically about a lot of drama that a rich family had. When it was in Blake's wife, it was his ex-wife. When it was in that, it was his butler's daughter. Just everyone you could think of was involved in drama in this family, and it was basically to keep their status, their money, their status. But to summarize it all of the problems were caused by someone wanting fame, someone wanting status, someone needing money. Just a lot. But yes, I would most definitely tell you guys to add this to your list and finish this series if you haven't already. Number 3. This is my favorite series. I don't know why I didn't start with this, but Supergirl. I love Supergirl, and of course I rate this series a 10 out of 10. Disclaimer, they actually ended this series due to personal reasons, so that's a bit sad, but I would most definitely tell you guys to watch it. Supergirl is a CW show, so if you don't like characters like Marvel characters, DC characters, then this show wouldn't be for you, but I recommend it. So this show was about Superman's cousin, which was Supergirl, aka Kara, and one day she decided to use her superpowers for good and to save the people of National City. She was adopted into a human family in this show, and her family and her were very close, especially her adopted sister Alex. I would tell you guys the part about her birth mother, but that's just a lot itself, so you definitely have to watch this show. It's a great show. Supergirl is very empowering, and she said a lot of motivational stuff in this series, and it made me mad sometimes because she'd be in a fight with a villain and she'd choose to speak to them and listen to their heart instead of just fighting them. But in the end, it was always the right thing to do, so I give a laugh. So like I said, if you like Marvel and DC characters, Flash, the Arrow, other characters collabed a lot with her in this series. But yes, definitely a 10 out of 10, so make sure to add this to your list. The next series that I recommend is Dead to Me, and I know y'all think I rating everything a 10 out of 10, but oh, I promise y'all I'm not rating everything a 10 out of 10. These really are 10 out of 10s to me. So this series was basically about a friendship that developed between Jen and Judy, and Jen was the main character in this series. And this friendship developed over Judy's husband's death. I lie. This friendship developed over Jen's husband's death. This series was filled with a lot of plot twists and U-turns, but it was definitely worth it. I will give you guys the most tricky part of this series was that Jen didn't know found it out during the series. So they started becoming friends. They became very close. Judy moved in with Jen. Jen moved in with Judy. They started to develop a good friendship. But the tricky part was that another tragic thing happened, and that was that Judy's husband was then killed. And y'all ain't even gonna guess who killed him. This series might sound scary, but I promise y'all it ain't scary because I would be the last person to watch something scary. So yes, definitely go add this series to your list, Dead to Me. and check it out and let me know what you guys think. Number 5 is Black Lightning, and I know a lot of people talk about this series, and it is most definitely a 10 out of 10. Again, if you don't like characters like DC or Marvel, then this series would not be for you. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know about this series. It's about a school principal who had superpowers that was powered by electricity. So he was an electric superhero. He then got back into using his powers because he had stopped for a while because it was hurting his wife to see him coming home every day hurting. And then he later realized that his children had superpowers as well. He's basically a superhero to his community, helped by both his daughters that are still trying to figure out how to use their powers and still trying to deal with how this is affecting them mentally. Oh, I don't want to give you guys too much information because I'm sure all of you haven't watched this series as yet. But I will tell you the name of his biggest rival, and his name is Tobias, and this is him. So yeah, before I tell you guys too much, I am going to tell you a quote that stuck with me through watching this series. And it was something he would always tell his students because he was the principal. He would say, "Whose life is this?" And they would answer, "Mine." And he said, "What are you going to do with it?" And they would say, "Live it by any means necessary." And yes, sir. But yes, definitely go watch this series and let me know what you guys think. Number 6, On My Block. On My Block would be the first one I don't rate a 10 out of 10. I do rate it a 9 out of 10 though. And the reason I gave this one a 9 out of 10 was because there were certain scenes that I didn't really think fit into the series, or just certain scenes that I didn't like. But this series was about 4 friends that did everything together. 3 of them were males and 1 of them were a female. They were all street savvy and trying to find themselves during their high school years. They dealt with many problems like trying to get their friend Caesar, which was one of them, out of his brother's gang, which I found out that in the new season he's the leader of the gang. Like what? But yes, this movie is filled with a lot of romance, plot twists, drama, constant danger, memories, friendship, just a lot. This series I would recommend mostly to teens just because of the stuff they're going through and things they're finding out. It's quite interesting. At least I found it interesting. After months and months of people telling me to go watch this series, I finally decided to do it. So yep, I'm telling you guys now to go watch On My Block and let me know what you guys think. Number 7 would be Grand Army, and this series is new to Netflix. I rate this one a 9 out of 10. This series deals with teenagers handling their own traumas, issues, friendships, life decisions, fairs. But yeah, all of the characters attended the same school, which is a very competitive school in Brooklyn. They were all struggling with racial problems and trying to become somebody and figure out who they are and things they like to do. One of the main characters, Joey, actually had something very traumatizing happen to her, but I'm not going to touch on that because then I would basically be spoiling it for you guys. But there was another main character by the name of Dom. I personally love Dom. She also had her struggles trying to find out who she was, what she wanted to be, who she wanted to be with. She was dealing with poverty and fighting to get into a dream school or a dream job. But in the end, her talents made room for her. So yes, Most Def. I don't know y'all tired of me saying Most Def, but most definitely go check out this series as well. The 8th series I recommend is Good Girls. And Good Girls I rate a 10 out of 10. It's a series about 3 mothers who one day decided that they didn't want to be poor anymore. And they decided to rob a grocery shop, not knowing that the grocery shop was owned by a gang leader. So after them thinking they were successful in robbing this grocery store, they actually got a visit from the gang leader that then made them work for him continuously in order to pay him back. And even after they surpassed that, they still had to work for him. And yes, they were scared of him because he was a gang leader. The type of work they had to do for him was exchange counterfeit money into real money. Beth, the main character, she found out a way to make her own counterfeit money and tried to play him, and also in the series they didn't know that they were being watched by the FBI, and they had a lot of questioning to do, a lot of answers to answer. 2 of them lied to their husbands continuously. 1 lied to her child about what they were doing, where they would be, how they were getting money. And they also had to answer to the grocery store manager who realized that it was them that robbed the grocery shop. Moving forward, they decided to make their own money and exchange it for the counterfeit money he was giving them, and also exchange it to act as if they were paying him, which in reality it was the counterfeit money. So doing that only led them into more problems. In the end, my girl Beth, the main character, leveled up and that's why I'm currently waiting on the next season, which I'll let you guys know when that drops. So yes, go ahead and check out this series and let me know what you guys think. The 9th series I recommend is called The Flash, and yes, I recommend this a 10 out of 10 as well. This is another superhero show, so you know what to do if you don't like superhero shows. It is about the fastest man alive, and his name is Barry Allen, aka The Flash, in which his powers were caused by, spoiler, were given to him by Harrison Wells, which was Godspeed. But he did use these powers to fight against criminals and anyone that would come to attack his city. Also, some of these criminals that he attacked also had superpowers that were given to them. So they were human that achieved superpowers, if that makes sense. Backtracking, The Flash's girlfriend's name is Iris, and I personally love Iris. His childhood friend, and after The Flash's parents died, he moved in with Iris, so she's basically his girlfriend who he grew up with. Y'all, if I continue about this series, I'm only gonna end up spoiling it for you guys. But this is one of my favorite Netflix shows, and I'm currently also waiting on the next season of this series. But yes, I love Iris. I love Joe, which is The Flash's dad figure. I love Cecile, which is his stepdad's wife. I basically love everyone in this show. I feel like this show was a very good show. So yes, go watch this show and let me know your thoughts. Number 10, the final series is Umbrella Academy, and I rate Umbrella Academy an 8 out of 10, and most of me not rating this a 10 was because of the last series. This series is also a superhero series. It revolves around a dysfunctional family of superheroes that were all given their superpowers the same day. So their mothers were impregnated the same day. So they got pregnant the same day and had children the same day, and these were superhero children that were adopted by this rich man at that time. They all have different superpowers. Their father would call them 1 through 7, so like number 1 would be 1, number 2 would be 2, number 3 would be her name. That was their names for him. So Luther was the strong one, and to the father he would be number 1 through 7, one of those numbers. Allison was the one who could whisper in your ear and you would do what she say. So she'd be like, I heard a rumor that you liked this video and subscribed, and that's exactly what you would do. Oz is the brother that could conquer dead spirits. He could talk to them, bring them to life. 5 could teleport from places to places. Benjamin was excellent at knives. So then the last one, Vanya, was the sister they thought would never have superpowers, not knowing that she was the strongest out of all of them, and that just led to a whole nother thing. The father treated Vanya differently all her life, and that made her hate her siblings, hate him, made them treat her differently. But yes, this series, as I said, did make me mad because of the last season that I did not expect to happen how it did. Go watch this season and let me know your guys' thoughts. So there, I gave you guys 10 Netflix series suggestions that I would recommend. But wait, I actually have 2 bonus series to give you guys, and I'm not gonna get into descriptions about them, but the 2 series are Raising Dion and Queen of the South, which I rate both of them a 9 out of 10. So yes, make sure you guys check out all of these series and let me know your thoughts. You can comment in the comment section or text me on Instagram. So yes, thank you guys for watching my video, and make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
For anyone looking for an exact time to prepare for the ultimate binge season, Good Girls Season 3 will be available on Netflix for subscribers to enjoy on the 16th of February, 2021.
Pretty in real life, so you don't even need filters. Body of a goddess.